Right, so I'm changing the radiator. First of all, you'd want to drain the radiator. There's a screw on the bottom that you can take out and collect all your coolant and so forth. This had a busted radiator hose. Well, the mount broke right here. Radiator hose came off. System emptied out, so it's only got clean water in at the moment, so I don't need to worry about collecting coolant. So I'm just going to disconnect the top hose, bottom hose from the top here because it's easy to access. I'm going to remove this top bar here. So first of all, remove this clip here. Then I can unbolt it, take this data port off there, and take that there out. Unbolt the sides to the front condenser, and then that radiator will just pull out with the fans and everything attached to it. I can swap the fans over to the new radiator first and put it all back in and basically reverse everything I did to take it out. So I'm going to get into it now. Data port, just give it a good pull up. That. The horns on either side, just undo that 10 bolt and unplug them. You can unplug them and leave it attached. I just like to have the horn out of the way. It's not onto the frame there. So you could just leave the horns on there if you want to. So it's all unbolted now, just need to get underneath. And right here, there's access to another 10mm bolt. Okay, so that's what I'm done. Now I just should be able to pull this straight out. Oh, we've still got this connect on here, so just going to have a side of that. Squeeze out, like so, just out of the way there. Take that out. It's not all that hard to do. Alright, now so I'll disconnect the hoses. This little the data port is clipped onto the fans. Same deal. Just get a screwdriver and just poke the sides in as you pull it out. So unclips easy enough. I just use one of these guys here, but flathead screwdriver will do the same job. Off the overflow. Okay, so mounts like this on both sides undone. Everything looks clear. Wires and everything out of the way. Okay, I've decided to take the fans out first because I don't know if that's power steering or transmission. So get the fans out of the way so I can see where transmission lines are, make sure the radiator's clear, and then I can take it out. So I don't know if I've already mentioned, but getting these off very easy. You just press the clips at the end, like so. All three of them. You just press them on the back, pull it off. That's really simple. Okay, so I do have transmission lines on the radiator down the bottom there. I don't have to worry about catching any fluid here because it's only going to lose maybe 50 maximum, only about 50, maybe 100 mil of fluid's going to lose. So unbolts it and pin it straight away up, both of them. Oh, it's not doing anything on there. Just look a bit suspicious right there, but it's not connected to the radiator, so that's okay. So that's also transmission. Well, that's not needed. That's not needed to go through the radiator. That's going to the transmission. Okay, hopefully you can see down there. A bit of a light in the situation. Down here, the condenser sits into the radiator mount. So you first got to lift the condenser to take it away from the radiator. Now the radiator is nice and loose. I'm going to do the two hands because I don't want to damage the condenser. So that's the new radiator. Now the drain plug is right there on the bottom. You can access it easy enough. That's what it looks like. And I know I didn't show that at the beginning of the clip, so that's why I'm showing you now. And I'm going to take these fittings off, just to crimp it, close the ends, put them back on, just to stop anything going in there. But I'm like, that's neither here or there either, because it's never going to be used. Having that coil on the front makes this non-void, so connecting it back to the radiator was pointless. So I'm going to be bypassing that altogether. I'll fix that up first, connect it up to that, degrease the area, and then I'll put the new radiator in. So actually tomorrow's job. I started this late in the afternoon thinking that I was just going to whip one out, put one back in. Turned out to be a little bit more involved with things, so I'll finish it up tomorrow. I'd really like to give it a nice clean on there. Okay, just to finish it off with tonight, I took out this cooler so I could have access to the lines easier. I've already put the lines on. I didn't have to cut anything. That's going to go straight in, no problems there. It's only a single bolt on both sides of the cooler to take that out. I don't know if it's a factory part of the Kia. If it is, I don't know why they had a radiator that also joined to it. The purpose of that is the purpose of it is for cooling through the radiator. But if you've got a cooler, you don't need to go through the radiator. And also, if the radiator leaks between the ATM and the coolant, you get a mixture between that, and you can get ATM into the coolant of the radiator, or vice versa, and it could back up the gearbox. Having a cooler separated from the radiator is, a big saver there. So when that fails, it's not going to put water into the gearbox. So why would you leave it connected? No idea. Anyway, it's disconnected, cleaned up, degreased. I'm going to let it soak, so tomorrow I'll come back to it and it should be all nice and loose, so I can clean it up. And this is something a mechanic's not going to do, because out of sight, out of mind sort of thing. I don't have to do it. It's just, if you look after your car and you clean it up, then when you've got a leak, you know about it and you can tend to it straight away, instead of it getting really bad before you notice it and then something else is going wrong in the process. So when you're in areas like this, clean it while you're there. So that's going to sit overnight, break down, and get into it tomorrow. Now you can see I've just 19mm. I've just put it back on like that. It's not going to affect anything. It's not going to be in the way. If this fan ever got sold and somebody wanted to connect them back up, then it's fine. It's there. There's the parts, but it's not needed. So I was able to successfully take the rubber off, or the sponge off the old radiator, transfer it over. I'm not going to glue it, just cable tied it, keep it in place there. Swap over the hose. Now I just need to swap over the mounts, and we can put that back in. I was able to swap over the top sponge as well. Not successful as the bottom, but mostly intact, so I can put that back in. I don't think it's really needed. It's just because it's there and I can do this, I'm doing it. But if I couldn't take this off, I don't think I would have really been concerned about it. Now, a very important thing is these mounts here get stuck to the bottom of the other radiator, the old radiator. I've seen so many times, countless amount of times, where I've gone to do a radiator change and they don't exist anymore. So somebody's done a radiator change and didn't swap those parts back over and just fitted it back up. So just make sure that you put the little mount fittings back in. Right, so getting it in was a little bit more of a challenge. Lining up the condenser with the radiator and then getting the radiator back in. The condenser was a bit stubborn at the bottom where the holes are, where they slot in. So once I had all that lined up, these guys here sat a little bit high, not much, but enough to make it not line up. So what I did was just have the radiator condenser apart a bit, put one bolt in the top of the radiator, one bolt in the bottom, and then I could pull the two together and line the next bolt up and bolt all that back in. That's all nice and tight now, ready to put the fans in. Righto, so fans are in. Now I'm just going to get a bit of WD-40 because I use degreaser in here, just to get a bit of WD on the connections here before I plug them back in. Put this cross member back in. Radiator hose, nearly finished. And not to forget the last 10mm on the bottom, holding that cross member in. Cross member, but you know what I mean. Okay, overflow clip back in place. Now I just need to put the bonnet cable back on. Don't know if you can see in there enough, but just sit into there. Put back on there. I'll just make sure that works. Now I can just pack up tools, get some coolant in there, put the plastic cover back on. It's good to go. And final result, I'm just doing this to flush out. I can still see it's green in there. The coolant that's going in is blue, so you don't want to mix them. And just letting it run through until that's nice and clear. And you can tell by this that the thermostat is working. If when it got up to temperature, nothing was coming out of here, I would know I need to replace the thermostat. Also remember, when doing that last bit, you got to have both heaters inside on, so all the coolant that's in the system throughout the van gets flushed out as well. Alright, till next time guys.